Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our Terry Talks Nutrition educational webinar series. Today we are discussing finding fibromyalgia relief. Now this is really exciting because it is a two-part webinar series. So today's presentation is going to be given by Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum, and then we also have part two, which you will be able to watch immediately after this video, presented by KP Khalsa. Now for those of you who do not know who Dr. Teitelbaum is, he is a board-certified internist, and he is the lead author of groundbreaking research on effective treatment for chronic fatigue syndrome and also fibromyalgia. Now, Dr. Teitelbaum knows chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia as an insider, as he contracted CFS when he was in medical school and had to drop out for a year to recover. So he knows a lot about this topic, both from personal and professional experience. In the ensuing 40 years after he had his CFS and fibromyalgia, he dedicated his career to finding effective treatments. He is an author of numerous best-selling books like From Fatigue to Fantastic and Pain-Free 1-2-3. He is also the author of an app that I use quite frequently for iPhone and Android called Cures A through Z. He has also been featured in many publications, radio, and television events, including appearances on Good Morning America, CNN, Fox News Channel, The Dr. Oz Show, and Oprah and Friends. So on behalf of all of us here at Terry Talks Nutrition Webinars, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Teitelbaum, and I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to him.
Well, Lexi, a pleasure, and happy to be going ahead today. And let's use today to teach people how to recover from fibromyalgia. Many of you out there have it, and many of you have been told there's nothing that can be done for it. And when the doctor says that there's nothing they can do for it, they're right. There's nothing they can do for it. But fibromyalgia is very, very, very treatable. Understand? Because I had this myself. I had it back in medical school. It knocked me out and left me homeless for a good part of a year. And in learning how to recover myself, we've gone ahead and put together a program that will help you to get your life back. So ready? Let's go ahead and do this. So if you take a look, fibromyalgia is basically an invisible illness. It's one of those, but you look great, even though you feel like death warmed over, because most people only see the surface of it. But overall, people are feeling miserable. So let's take a look at some of the symptoms. There are literally over 100 symptoms that are present in this illness. But let's take a look at the more common ones. Exhaustion that does not go away with sleep is a major issue. Chronic widespread pain, upper and lower body, left and right. Headaches, brain fog, difficulty with word finding, word substitution, short-term memory, and poor sleep. So that combination of can't sleep even though you're exhausted and widespread pain, if you've got those, you've got fibromyalgia. In addition, people tend to have sinus issues, gut symptoms, a whole host of other conditions as well. So the bottom line with fibromyalgia represents an energy crisis in the body. And like so many different illnesses nowadays, they tend to be associated with inflammation. And another new study just came out showing that it's not the standard kind of inflammation like you get in the joint, but it's basically the immune system going on overdrive and exhausting. So treating the underlying inflammation is a key part of the common thread. And if you take a look at the numbers, we have over 10 million Americans who have fibromyalgia-related conditions, and about 3/4 or more of those tend to be women. So again, like most immune illnesses, it affects predominantly women. So let's take a look at the standard treatment. You know, fibromyalgia is a very complex disease. As you noted, it's an energy crisis where people essentially blew a fuse. It can be triggered by anything that causes you to spend more energy than you make. So if you can have poor nutrition, poor sleep, chronic infections, injuries, any of a host of things can trigger the energy crisis. And the standard treatment is first the doctor will give you Motrin-related medications, which have been shown in the studies to essentially be useless, but that's what they give anyway. Then they'll go with antidepressants, which this isn't a illness of depression. This is quite different than depression, but they give it anyway. Sometimes they help a bit because raising the serotonin helps pain, and it can help the low blood pressure issues called orthostatic intolerance. And they'll give Valium. They basically say, I don't have time to deal with this, and so they give you Valium. And then they have the 3 new medications that, because they're very expensive, we're getting a lot of attention. So you've got the Lyrica, Savella, and Volta. But basically, this conventional treatment for fibromyalgia is, simply put, dismal. So how do you get well? Well, if we remember that this is an energy crisis, things that restore energy, and basically your energy bucket is full of holes, so you plug the holes so your body can start to keep the energy and make more. And what we found in our published research is that what is called the SHINE protocol results in a dramatic improvement. 91% of people improve with an average 90% increase in quality of life. So write this down. You got fibromyalgia, you want to optimize SHINE. And SHINE stands for sleep, hormonal support, infections, nutritional support, and exercise as able. So you want to go ahead and make sure that those 5 key areas are addressed. Now, we're not talking about the PACE study idiocy, where they're saying, well, just exercise. That's absurd. You can't exercise. You get wiped out the next day if you do. So you can't push yourself beyond a certain point, but it is important to maintain conditioning. So let's take a look at these key areas and the things that you can do to go ahead and optimize energy production and make your fibromyalgia go away. So let's start by looking at the research. Basically, in our study, we went ahead and randomized the group. Half the people got all active treatment, half got all placebo treatment. So this is a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study. This is the gold standard in medical research, is using this approach. And what we found is that the well-being index, so on basically a 0 to 10 scale, with 0 being dead and 10 being healthy, that's how you tend to rate things. In this case, it was a 0 to 500 scale. But what you'll see is people began, if you're looking at a 0 to 10 scale, at about 3.5 on average is how they rated their overall quality of life. And the placebo group, very, very minimal change. But in the active group, we see this dramatic improvement. At 3 months, people were feeling 75% better. And that continued to get better and better. The other measures that we looked at also showed the same things. And for those who like the statistics, the p-value was less than 0.0001 versus placebo. So that was a very, very powerful effect. So a lot of you have had the experience that you do something, you feel better for a month or two, and then you crash again because you have a lot of weak links in the chain. And you can get one of the links better, you feel better, but then the next link breaks. And that's why using this comprehensive protocol makes all the difference. So we followed the study out for 2 years. And what we found is that 2 years, people were continuing to get better and better. They had gone to an average 90% increase in quality of life at 2 years and had been able to get rid of most of the treatments. So basically, the SHINE protocol is like crutches after you sprain an ankle. You use the crutches to help your ankle heal, then you throw the crutches away. In the same way, most of these treatments can go ahead and be eliminated after you're starting to feel well for 6 to 9 months. So let's take a look at sleep. Americans are becoming a sleep-deprived country. We used to average 9 hours of sleep a night until 135 years ago when light bulbs were developed. And now we're down to 6 3/4 hours a night. So basically, it's a 30% pay cut as far as sleep is concerned. And why is sleep important? I remember when I was a kid, I used to think that sleep was just a waste of time, but it's not. If you don't sleep, you're going to be in pain. Your energy is going to go down, and you're going to gain weight. The average weight gain in this disease is 32.5 pounds, and about 6.5 of that, to 10 of that probably, is coming from inability to sleep. So if you want your pain to go away, you've got to get your sleep. So what can you do to go ahead and improve sleep? Number one, herbals can be very, very effective. There's a wonderful mix of mandarin, lemon balm, ravensara, and lavender oils that really can help people to be in their ZZZZZ sleep when they're just out. Another excellent mix is valerian, hops, theanine, lemon balm, wild lettuce, passion flower. So there's a number of herbals that will start people with, and also a sustained release melatonin. But an interesting thing, and especially if people have anxiety, although even if you don't, there's a special form of echinacea. Most echinaceas won't do anything for sleep, but there's one special form that was studied and found to be as effective as Librium, basically Valium, for anxiety. And it also can help relax the mind and help with the sleep as well. So many herbal mixes, and all of these can be used together as a good start to improving your sleep quality. Taking magnesium at bedtime, an Epsom salt bath with 2 cups of magnesium in a tub of hot water and soak for 20 minutes or so before bedtime will really relax all your muscles, help you drift into sleep. 5-HTP, the smell of lavender, even a few drops of lavender oil on your pillow, for example, can go ahead and help. So there are many, many simple things that you can do to begin the process of getting your sleep. Now, I will note that for fibromyalgia, most people have such a severe sleep disorder that they do need a combination of natural and medications. But you don't want to go the addictive sleep medications, and there's many, many alternatives. But I'll tell you that in the over 3,000 people at this point that we've treated for fibromyalgia, I can count on my fingers how many we've not been able to get good, solid sleep. So you can, and you'll be amazed how much better you feel. The next thing would be hormones. We talked about this being an energy crisis where you essentially blew a fuse. And that circuit breaker that went offline is called the hypothalamus. It controls sleep, hormone, autonomic function, temperature regulation. So that's why you can't sleep, because that circuit's offline, and that's why your hormone system across the board is going to be malfunctioning. But here's the thing. Our blood tests are geared that you have to be in the lowest 2% of the population to be abnormal on a blood test, which means that those glands basically have to have failed. And this isn't a disease where the thyroid or the adrenal gland is destroyed. This is a disease where the foreman is asleep on the job. And he's not telling any of the workers to work, so they're just kind of going at low-grade functioning. It's not enough to put the blood test below the 2 percentile. So you'll find your blood tests are normal, quotes normal, even though you have horrible hormonal deficiencies. So it's very common to see adrenal, thyroid, and even reproductive hormone dysfunction in people with fibromyalgia or CFS, in addition to many others, hormonal issues. And again, that the blood tests are normal means nothing. So let's take a look at thyroid. Thyroid is critical for making energy. It's the gas pedal. It's basically the thermostat on your energy furnace. And it's stuck where it can't make too much energy. So what you'll find is that there's many things that are playing a role. Number one, iodine is critical for thyroid hormone. Basically, if you take a look at the thyroid hormone, it's several iodines attached to a tyrosine. That's all it is. And iodine deficiency used to be an old epidemic in the United States, and it's coming back because we've lost almost half of the iodine that's in our diet. In addition, so it's a good idea to go ahead and start with a high dose of iodine in the beginning, because in addition, you'll find that many other things may block iodine function. There's a possibility that things like fluoride, bromide, things like that will block iodine function. And it's a good idea to take a high dose for 3 months to wash out these other toxins, fluorides and such, while filling the tank. So I recommend that people take 6¼ milligram of a combination of potassium iodide, sodium iodide, and molecular iodine from kelp. And I would take the 6¼ milligram a day for 3 months. Some people choose to stay on it longer than that, and that can be helpful too. but at least for that 3-month period. And then we will use the natural thyroid hormone to go ahead and treat the low thyroid. Now, how about adrenal function? And first of all, let me go back for a moment to thyroid. So if the tests aren't reliable, how do you tell if you need thyroid support? Well, the symptoms are very simple. Tired, achy, weight gain, cold intolerant. Those are symptoms of low thyroid, regardless of what the tests show. You'll notice that those symptoms sound remarkably like fibromyalgia. So virtually everybody with fibromyalgia deserves a trial of thyroid hormone to see if it helps you feel better. It's really that simple. How do you tell adrenal? Well, the adrenal blood tests are geared to pick up adrenal, not dysfunction or fatigue, but destruction. So it has to be so low that it can actually kill you, which is absurd. So how do you tell if you need adrenal support? Well, very straightforward. Let me give you one simple question that'll tell. Do you get irritable when you're hungry? Is it like there are periods where suddenly a light switch goes off and anybody who gets between you and that Twinkie bar or the cupcake is going to be like getting between a mama bear and her cub? You know, your claws come out, you get really irritable, everybody around you starts to go hide, that kind of thing. That's low adrenal. Irritable when hungry, what I call feed me now or I'll kill you moments. Also things like low blood pressure, getting frequent sore throats. All those kind of things tend to be significant for adrenal being fatigued. So a couple simple things for that. One, nutritional support can be very helpful for the adrenals. I like a mix of vitamin C and vitamin B5 along with licorice, which helps your body hold on to its own adrenal stress hormones longer. There's Germania. There's also the other adrenal hormones such as DHEA and pregnenolone. Pregnenolone is frequently very, very low in people with fibromyalgia. So you want to go ahead and you can get all of this in one capsule. It is very easy to get this nutritional support. And sometimes we'll use tiny, tiny doses of the bioidentical adrenal hormone. The other thing, if you have low adrenal, your body needs more water and more salt. I know you're going to tell me, but I already drink like a fish. Yes, you do, but you pee like a racehorse. One of the hormones that's low is antidiuretic hormone or anti-peeing hormone, which means you leak like a sieve. You can't hold on to water. And then some of you say, well, I'm in the bathroom all the time, so I'm just not going to drink. Well, you're still going to pee. You're just going to be dehydrated. So you need a lot of salt and a lot of water. Those are critical. You also may want to wear some compression stockings that are medium pressure, 20 to 30 millimeter. The ones that go mid-thigh are the best, but the ones that go at least knee-high can also be helpful. You want to wear those when you're up and around. These simple things can make a dramatic difference in how you feel and your endurance. I for infections. Again, it's not that there's one single horrible drug infection. There are literally dozens, if not over 100 infections that can cause you to blow a fuse and trigger fibromyalgia. You'll have fungal infections, bacterial or antibiotic-sensitive infections, Lyme disease, viruses, parasites, a whole host of things. And the testing, most of our testing is geared towards acute infections. It's not geared for picking up chronic infections very well. So the testing is difficult. It's helpful, but it's difficult. But you go mostly by a set of symptoms combined with a blood test to see who needs to be treated for what infections. For Candida, the best way to tell is if you have chronic nasal congestion, postnasal drip, or you're clearing your throat a lot, it's chronic sinusitis or irritable bowel syndrome. These are symptoms of Candida overgrowth. But again, put simply, most people with fibromyalgia will need to be treated for Candida. The other infections really needs to be tailored to each person. So how do you treat the Candida? A good probiotic is essential, but also yeast grow by fermenting sugar, and then they make gas, which is, if you're like a fermentation tank, it's cranking out gas, and if you are too, then that's a sign that you have the Candida. So you need to cut out the sugar, not 100%, but cut it way back so you starve the little buggers. And then we'll use a mix of natural and prescription antifungals. And this combination tends to knock out the yeast. And then for the sinusitis, there's a compounding or holistic pharmacy nose spray that can be very helpful as well. And then again, we'll go ahead and look for other infections, parasite infections. If you have a lot of gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, and it doesn't go away with a Candida treatment, then there's two things, key areas to look at. If when you pass gas, it has this sulfur smell. Remember back in grade school, there was always one little kid who used to pass these what we call silent but deadlies. That's the sulfur smell I'm talking about. If you have that, you also have a bacterial infection called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth that needs to be addressed. But for most people, the Candida is a major component of the gut infections. So we talked about S, H, and I in SHINE, and then N is nutritional support. Nutrition is the key to optimizing energy production and getting your health back. Common deficiencies in CFS and fibromyalgia include vitamin A, B, widespread B deficiencies, vitamin C, vitamin D, folate, magnesium, glutathione, a critical deficiency. A lot of people feel the glutathione deficiency is the key underpinning or one of the key underpinnings of fibromyalgia. Iron deficiency, selenium. So the nutritional deficiencies make it hard to make energy, make the pain worse, and really aggravate the problem. People using narcotics will be B vitamin deficiency from the have B vitamin deficiency from the narcotics themselves, along with testosterone deficiency. So you really want a good high potency multivitamin. They can be very simple, low cost, and make a world of difference as part of this overall protocol. You also want to tend to eat whole foods. You want to cut down sugar, increase salt and water. Those are the keys to the diet. But you want to tend to get things that are rich in magnesium, basically a lot of veggies and nuts, antioxidant veggies. Omega-3s are very, very helpful. So salmon, tuna. You want to use fermented foods, probiotic-rich foods like sauerkraut and kimchi. And you want to get basically healthy proteins. Grass-fed beef, much less likely to cause inflammation than grain-fed. Just simple common sense things. You want to eat a healthy diet. So in terms of nutritional support, there are a couple things that are very easy. There's a vitamin powder that one drink replaces over 35 to 50 pills, and it just makes it very, very simple for people. In addition, coenzyme Q10, 200 milligrams a day. Ribose, we've done 2 studies on ribose. It increased energy in average of 61%. Picture 61% more energy. And that came after the earlier study we talked about, so that's in addition to the benefits from the other study. So you want to get the ribose, and you want to get a powdered ribose, and you want to go ahead and do a 5-gram scoop 3 times a day in the beginning. It looks and tastes like sugar, so you can add it to your drinks. You can put it in some tea and water on your food. And then after 3 to 6 weeks, you'll start to see the benefits, and you can decrease it twice a day. Acetylcarnitine, 1,000 milligrams a day for 4 months. And if your ferritin level, the blood test for iron, is under 60, normal is under 12, which is, how do the researchers say? Insane is the word they use. If the ferritin level is under 60, you want to take iron supplementation. Then you want to increase your water intake, decrease sugar, add salt, as we talked about, high protein, low carb diet, and get the omega-3. If you have dry eyes and dry mouth, omega-7 support, very helpful. It takes 2 months, but you'll find your whole body moistens up, and the feels, people love it. And glutathione, simple things. Now, I do want to mention we're going through a lot of territory pretty quickly. You don't have to have taken notes on all of this. I'm going to tell you a simple way to figure out exactly what you need. And this, you'll find it's going to be really, really, really simple. We'll get there in just a little bit. Exercise. Again, this whole exercise fibromyalgia PACE study is profanity, basically. But like with any chronic disease, studies show that people with cancer One of the important things for cancer-related fatigue is to walk and maintain conditioning. But people wouldn't dream of saying, oh, well, that exercise helped cancer, so it's not real, and we're going to cut off all your insurance and deny any treatment for the cancer. And that's how absurd the PACE study is in the way that it's being used. Is that people are trying to make believe it's not a real disease, and they're basically idiots. Ignore them. Don't waste your time with them. But it is important that you do maintain your conditioning as much as you comfortably can. You want to go for walks. And you also will take a look at the mind-body thing, but see what's comfortable for you for exercise. If you're even too fatigued to walk outside, then find a warm water pool if you can, so you can begin the conditioning process in the buoyancy of the pool. If you walk your dog, your dog is the best way to make sure that you do your walk every day. Yoga, Pilates, there's all kinds of simple things, but do as much as you comfortably can without getting the next day wipeout feeling. For the 20% or so of you that are so housebound that you can't even do that, treating what's called orthostatic intolerance is a little bit beyond the scope of this. You can email me. I'll give you my email address, and I'll send you a simple quiz that'll tell if you have it. It's called POTS, and early mediated hypertension. It's where your blood pressure drops when you stand up, and that with underlying viral infections or antibiotic-sensitive infections. For that 20% that are bedbound or housebound, that's usually going on, and those things need to be addressed as well. But again, walk as much as you comfortably can. Listen to your body. If you feel good, tired after, and better the next day, that's a good level. But that will help maintain conditioning, which can be very important. Now, let's take a look at pain, because pain is a really big part of fibromyalgia. And there are 7 different kinds of fibromyalgia pain. We're not going to go through all of those today, but each one needs to be addressed separately. The main pain is the muscle pain. Basically, it starts with the muscles getting locked in a shortened position, because muscles are like a spring. They take more energy to relax than it does to contract. That's why after a hard workout, people come home with tight muscles, because the energy is low and the muscles, like a spring, get locked in a shortened position and they hurt. And the SHINE protocol feeds them energy so they release. But here's a really critical understanding about pain that will make it much easier to get pain-free. We view pain as if somehow it's an outside attack on our body that needs to be fought. But it's not. Pain is really like it's a natural warning light on our body's dashboard. It's just like the oil light going off, saying that the car needs oil. The medical approach is to cover it with a Band-Aid or smash it with a hammer. And then you wonder why the motor burns out down the road. But what if you just put oil in the car? Then the oil light goes out. And what our research has shown is that if you go ahead and give your body what it needs, which is the SHINE protocol in this case, the pain goes away. Now, doesn't that just common sense? If you have a flashing warning light, whether it's oil light or whatever, your body is saying, I need this. You give your body that. It may be saying, I want my hand off the hot stove, so you take your hand off the stove. Whatever it is, you give your body what it needs. The pain goes away. It's really that straightforward. So let's take a look at some natural pain relievers. Curcumin is very effective, but the main problem is that the curcumin is very poorly absorbed by itself. So you'd have to take 500 pills of turmeric or 16 of the regular curcumin, 14 to 16. It's just too many pills a day, especially with everything else that people need while they're healing their body. But here's the simple trick. If you add the turmeric essential oil called turmerone to the curcumin, you increase your absorption 7-fold. So 1 pill replaces 7. And it has things that help with the inflammation. Interestingly, curcumin was found to be more effective for depression than Prozac. So it helps the mood, helps a number of things. So there's a very special form of curcumin combined with turmerone, and that's the only form that I will use of curcumin. And then you add boswellia to it, which hits different inflammatory pathways, and even the frankincense oil. Suddenly, you got a pain relief combination that is nothing short of a miracle. It is really amazing for people, and the folks with fibro love it. So let's take a look again. Basically, fibromyalgia is an energy crisis where your body blows a fuse. Anything that causes you to spend more energy than you can make, infections, hormonal problems, autoimmune diseases, situational stress, literally hundreds of things cause you to blow a fuse. To turn the circuit breaker back on, you need to restore energy production with the SHINE protocol, which is research and clinically proven. And it's good to work with healthcare practitioners familiar with complex illnesses and complementary treatments. Going to your regular doctor for fibromyalgia is like going to your chiropractor looking for heart bypass surgery. They just have no clue. Doesn't make them a bad chiropractor or a bad doctor. They're just not trained in this. They're going to get more pain relief from a chiropractor than you will from most physicians. And for most physicians with fibromyalgia, all you're going to do is come out feeling like you want to strangle them. So go to somebody who knows what they're doing. And for the nutritional supplements, Ribose, and Energy Revitalization System Vitamin Powder, I start with those two in everybody. It just makes it really simple. I will add coenzyme Q10, 200 milligrams, take it with some oil, like omega-3 would be a good source, and take the acetyl L-carnitine, 1,000 milligrams a day with it for 4 months. The first two I will use long-term with people, evenly cooked Q10. For pain and inflammation, the omega-3s, but you want to use a vectorized one where 1 pill replaces 7 pills. The curcumin, turmeric essential oil, boswellia and frankincense oil, or curcumin, boswellia, DLPA, and nattokinase. These can be very helpful for pain. There's multiple sleep natural remedies that can be helpful. And then after the natural remedies, I'll add the medications until you're getting 8 hours sleep a night without hangover. Optimize hormonal function, all of the hormones. And then for mood, there's a host of other things that can be very helpful as well. If you find you're wide awake at bedtime, the ashwagandha can help, as can phosphatidylserine. The rhodiola can help stamina. So a couple simple things that you can do. But again, the protocol, there's a lot of stuff in the beginning. So there's a simple tool. If you go to the website, and write this down if you have a piece of paper and pen, www.vitality101.com. So you go to vitality101.com. You'll have a 3-step program that will walk you through and educate you about fibromyalgia and teach you what you need to do to recover. There will also be a free energy analysis program. This is basically a quiz. It will take you 10 minutes, usually less. It can even analyze your lab testing. If you have the lab tests, it'll analyze the pertinent ones. But you don't need the lab tests. The lab tests and the symptoms all point to the same direction. So if you go ahead and you do the quiz, it will analyze that and put together a detailed protocol for you, tailored to your case, to help you optimize your energy so you can get back to feeling great again. So it's called the Energy Analysis Program. It's free. That's my gift, because I can't treat everybody. I treat people from all over the world, often by phone. And we do very in-depth 3-hour consultations. But not everybody can afford that kind of a thing. So we made the Energy Analysis Program so that everybody can get well, even if they have no money at all. So check it out. You're going to find it's amazing. There's a free email newsletter. I answer questions and answers on my Facebook page, Vitality 101. We have health practitioner lists. For those who are interested in an appointment with me, if you email appointments with an S at the end at endfatigue.com. So E, N like Nancy, D like David, the word fatigue.com. But the Vitality 101 site is going to have an enormous amount. Basically, that site was made to give everybody the tools to be healthy and feel great. For those of you that are interested, if you want a nice, simple read, the Fatigue and Fibromyalgia Solution. If you want more of a medical textbook, get From Fatigue to Fantastic. These will make you experts in understanding what this illness is and also, most importantly, how to make it go away. So I want to thank all of you for coming today. There's now safe and effective treatments for CFS and fibromyalgia, and everybody can shine and get their life back. So it's time for you to be healthy. Again, I had this illness, as I mentioned, left me homeless and sleeping in parks. And if you saw my energy now and my schedule, it would make your head spin. The trick, and let's take a moment to talk about the mind-body issue. if you physically get well, so you can go back to what made you sick in the first place, and instead of doing stuff you hate, your body will blow your fuse again. So I give you the strong advice. As you start feeling better, use the energy for things that feel good, not for things that your brain are telling you you should do. That's a programming you got to make everybody else happy. And this is doctor's orders, so if you need, you can blame it on me. You know, when people say, well, when you tell them no, you say, well, the doctor said I have to say no. So here's a simple thing to do. Somebody asks you to do something, you think of doing something, see how it feels. You notice I didn't say think about it. I said see how it feels. If it feels good, that's your psyche's way of saying that you really want to do that, go for it. If it feels bad, say no. Write that word down, no. So if things don't feel good, say no. And again, when you're going to find, many of you find that you draw what I call energy vampires, that anytime you're having a moment's energy, it's like a neon sign goes off over your head saying emotional toxic waste dump open. And all the energy vampires come in. First what they do, they pull up to the filling station and they put their hooks in you. Like, oh, I don't know what I would do without you. If not for you, I'd be doomed. Blah, nobody else can help me. They're putting in the hooks. Then they suck you dry, and then they barf up all of their emotional caca on you. How do you tell you've just been hit by an energy vampire? Because you felt better before they came in the room than when they left you feel wiped out. And so you'll notice that it feels bad. Your brain will be saying, well, I got to help her, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as you notice it feels bad, what are you going to say? No. Very good. You got it. And that combined with shine will lead you to getting a life that you love. So I want to thank everybody for coming today. We do take questions on our Facebook page, so at Dr. Teitelbaum, but also at Vitality 101 website. And it's time for you to get your life back. This is a remarkably treatable disease. The problem is doctors are clueless, but that shouldn't keep you from getting well now. So everybody, have a blessed day and time to get a life you love.
Thank you so much, Dr. Teitelbaum. The information you share is truly going to help a lot of people reclaim their life and vitality. And again, for anyone who may have missed Dr. Teitelbaum's website, it is www.vitality101.com. It is chock full of fantastic information, tips, and ways that you can really start taking some of your problems back into your own hands, helping get you feel well. And again, there is a spot on there to ask Dr. Teitelbaum your own personal health questions. So thank you so much for joining us. And again, this was part 1 of our Finding Fibromyalgia Relief, and we will have part 2 coming up with KP Khalsa. And if you are looking for more information about Terry Talks Nutrition, we do have a website, www.terrytalksnutrition.com. And hopefully you found this video on our YouTube page, but if you are unfamiliar, we do have several webinars with Dr. Teitelbaum up on our YouTube page, and they are some of our most highly viewed and commented webinars, and I think a lot of it has to do with Dr. T's fantastic presentation style and the way that he lays out a plan that is easily accessible for a lot of people. So thank you very much for tuning into this webinar, and stick around for part 2. Bye-bye.